Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Daniel, founder of Pill Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And today is December 1st. Oh, and not only that, but today we have a very special show. This is show number 279. This is episode 279. We did our first show of how to pay off mortgages in 7 years. We did our first show November 21, 2021. Can you believe that? Over 2 years ago, we've been right here sharing with you what Pill Method is all about. So let's break it down today, how to Pill Method your way to a better life, how to Pill Method your way to a debt-free life. And I want to say good morning to everybody on Clubhouse and everyone who is watching us online. I see M. Bolin, good morning, watching us on YouTube. Good morning to you. Who else do we have here? So I say good morning. Eric Toombs is here. All right, M. Bolin is here from New York City. Oh my goodness, I absolutely enjoy every time you guys come in. Start putting your questions in now if you want me to handle your question. All right, but right now, let's go over PILL method. PILL stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. Now, when you understand these four principles, you get to understand the basics of how lending in the world actually works. And why is this important? Because the first self-amortizing mortgage, meaning the way that we pay debt today is part of your money is attributed to principal and some of it goes to interest. The principal is the money you borrowed. So the way that an amortization schedule breaks down is every time you make a payment, you bring what you owe down by a little bit until it's completely paid off. The rest of your payment is called interest, and that's what slows your payments down. So the first self-amortizing loan came about in 1936. 1936, it was a 20-year loan as a result of the government getting involved in helping people out of the Great Depression. They had lost their houses, they had lost their farms, they had lost their churches, they had lost their businesses, they had lost their buildings. And so the government goes in and buys up a lot of these loans and then redistributes them back to the people with 20-year mortgages. Now, why 20-year mortgages? Because before that, the self-amortizing mortgage did not exist in the United States, meaning they had most of these loans were interest-only loans, and they only had 3 to 5 year terms. And then after that, then you would have a balloon payment or all the loan would become due. Now, when you have a interest-only loan, that means you're just paying the interest and none of the principal is paid down. So the banks love that. Now, why do they love that? They love to lend you the money because year after year, you're paying interest on the loan. But for most of those years, the property would increase in value. Oh my gosh, you're just paying interest on the loan, but the property increases in value. So if you ever have to, if they ever have to foreclose, they get a building back or a house back or a farm back that's worth more now than when they lent you the money on it in the first place. And then they also received a lot of interest money along the way. So the bank was not losing, but that plan all fell apart in 1929 when the stock market crashed. When the stock market crashed, then the property values began to plummet. And so the banks would no longer renew or refinance these interest only loans. And then the people could not pay. They could make the payments, but they could not pay the big balloon payment at the end. So the government buys up all this paper, reissues a bunch of these loans back to the people with 20-year mortgages, so that with a self-amortizing mortgage, at the end of 20 years, all the principal is paid back. That was the idea. That's how it was sold to the people. But let me tell you what really was going on behind the scenes. And this is why we need to understand loans today. This is why we came up with the P.I.L.L method. Remember, it stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. And we're going to go over that. Start inviting some people in right now. If you're online watching us, and I see you there, share this with some people. If you're here in Clubhouse, go ahead and share this with some people. And I want to say good morning to V. Simmons. Good morning to you. All right. And Jennifer Brown from Texas. Good morning to you. All right. And I'm Don Daniel right here in Huntsville, Alabama. And Sheila popped in for just a second. And Danelle, good morning to you. And everybody else who's either watching or listening. All right. If you want to see what we're doing, all right, and I'm going to be putting some information on the screen here in just a little bit. But I want to get the link. I'm going to get the link to our YouTube channel so that you can not only subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can actually watch what's going on when I put it on the screen. Okay, so let me get the link to this. All right. Oh, there we go. Oh, turn that off. Oh, I keep messing this thing up. All right, there we go. And share, copy, and we're going to put that in the chat on in Clubhouse here. In Clubhouse, there we go. And there it is. So if you go to a separate device, and you'll be able to see what we're doing here to break down the P.I.L.L method today. Why is it important for us to know? So with this short history, in 1936 was the first 20-year mortgage. What was happening is this system was put in place to save the financial underpinnings of the United States, the banking system. It was not put in place to help the consumer. It was sold that way to help the consumer. Good morning, Sharon Jones. How are you? All right. She's watching us on YouTube as well. All right. It was sold that way. So now we have a system. We have a system whereby people have a mortgage, they're paying it down, and the government no longer wanted to be in the mortgage business. So they helped to create what is now called the secondary market, where investors would come in, buy up the mortgages, and you would pay back the investors. What the investors were looking for was these interest rates at that time, 4, 5, and 6%. They weren't making that kind of money in those days. So if I can get somebody to pay me 4, 5, or 6% interest on my money for 20 years, this was a great thing. So who got to understand this? The government agencies got to understand how mortgages work. The investors got to understand how mortgages work. But guess who didn't get to understand how mortgages work? The consumers that were actually using the mortgages. And they were paying 75 to 80% more interest than they actually needed to pay, so that the investors would find it attractive and buy up the mortgages, all right, from the government. Then banking got involved. And then you find out later that the banks where you have your mortgage today, if you have a mortgage today, whether you're watching us live or watching the replay, if you have a mortgage today, the bank or mortgage company you have your mortgage with no longer has your mortgage. I don't care what name is on it right now. And some of you got a notice as soon as you closed on the loan. You got a notice within a week. Somebody else bought your mortgage. It was an investor. An investor bought your mortgage. I have some new people in. Come up to the stage, please. Raise your hand. Come up to the stage. You don't have to say anything, but if you're here in Clubhouse, come up to the stage. That helps to invite more people in once you hit the stage. Okay. You don't even have to share anything. Just by coming up, you can. There you go. Thank you, TC. Invite to speak. Come on up. Do you have something to say to us this morning, or do you just want to sit on the stage?
No, sir, I don't have anything to say. I appreciate you being consistent with coming in. Although sometimes I may not be able to stay due to other obligations, but just to invite others as I'm on the stage, because I think everyone needs this knowledge. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Anybody else, come on up to the stage. You don't have to say anything, but just come on up to the stage. Raise your hand and come up to the stage. And if you're going to learn, sit and learn. All right, there you go, Steve. You know Steve is going to come up. Good morning, Steve, to you. How's everything going, man?
Great, yourself?
Excellent, man. Excellent. Listen, we're rounding out the year. We're rounding out the year. Coffee Brown is in here right now. All right. She's changing up her PTR all the time. Miss Coffee, how are you doing this morning? So she might be at the gym. Okay. Coffee, when you're ready, you can come in and talk anytime you want. Just interrupt me. So Coffee Brown is here. And because you guys are sitting on the stage, look, I just want you to see more people are coming in. Natasha, I've seen you before. I know who you are. Thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate you. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why we are here is because we need to understand, the consumer needs to understand what's really going on. Here's what we've been taught over the years. What is the one thing you need to know? Okay. What is the one thing we're all looking for to master our debt? People call us all the time saying, Don, what is the right amount of money to prepay? What day of the month should I prepay it on? And so they think it comes down to that. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is no one thing. Because we've been taught there's one thing. They've been taught that. The one thing we need to understand is which loan to attack. It is the one with the smallest balance or the one with the greatest interest rate. Those are called heuristics or rules of thumb. Okay. But the system is way more complicated than that, because the lenders and the real estate investors who invest in your mortgage are making trillions of dollars every year on the interest you pay on your mortgage that should be paid off in 5 to 7 years. But the way that the system is set up, we pay these loans off in about 30 years, and most of us never pay off a mortgage. Never. We have this thing until we die. Now, what kind of system is that? That you can have a debt, you can be in debt, so people can make money off of you your entire, not your just entire working life, your entire life, and you never get out. And we grow to become comfortable because we can still go on vacations. We can still have fun. We can still buy the car we want. We can still buy the house we want. We can still have the education we want. We can still raise the good children that we want. We can still we can pay all of this money in interest and still become a millionaire in the United States. But that's not the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody is using us as their resource to get wealthy, because we don't understand the tool that they are using to make themselves wealthy. We don't even understand that 35 to 39% of our take home pay pays interest alone. And that's why we need to break down. That's why we need to break down prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity so that you can begin to understand what is going on behind the scenes. Now, that is not to say that borrowing money is bad or wrong. What I am trying to say is we should approach this thing from being educated on how loans actually work. I need you to put it in the chat today, right now in the chat. If you're on Clubhouse or if you're watching us online on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, put in a yes or a no, a Y or an N, either way. Have you ever had a class on how the amortization schedule actually works, how the bank makes their money, and how you can defeat this system? Have you ever had a class on it besides my class? Okay, put a yes or a no in there. All right. Tony says no. Okay. Tony Carson says no. All right. Anybody else? Lolita Hawkins says no. Okay. Now, why is that? Why is that? This should be amazing to you that we have credit cards, we have personal loans, we have mortgages, we have student loans, and the most ubiquitous financial tool on the planet is the self-amortizing loan. And we, M. Bolin says no, and S. Ray says no. They're watching us online. The most ubiquitous financial tool on the planet, and everybody's using it. We have actually no education on how it works and what we're doing. Oh my goodness. And therefore, people are making thousands of dollars. I'm getting ready to show you something here so we can learn how to break this thing down. But I need to show you, first of all, what can be done. So I'm going to put some, let me see here. I'm going to put some things on the screen here. All right. This is, we're going to highlight this. All right. We're going to highlight this one. 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 And we're going to open these up. And I'm going to share this on the screen with you guys. All right. So if you want to see this, I put the link to my YouTube channel in the chat if you're on Clubhouse. All right. If you want to see it, go to YouTube and search for P.I.L.L method or use the link. All right. So you can see the live presentation. So we're going to present this stuff to you right now, and we're going to break these points down point by point. All right, we're going to share this screen. There we go, share screen. Boom, there it is. Okay. All right, I just brought a person on yesterday, okay, to the P.I.L.L method, and they thought they were supposed to be out of debt in 7 years. This is what we quoted them. But by the time they put all their information into the opportunity cost calculator, that's our program, that's our AI system that does all the math. They're now going to be out of debt in 3.3 years. You know what the couple said to me? I said, they said, well, what about the mortgage? I said, that is the mortgage and all your other debt. You're going to be out of debt in 3.5 years instead of 27 years. 3.5 instead of 27. And we're going to use your current budget, the same budget you're going on vacation on, the same budget that you're buying your cars with, the same budget that you're creating memories with your family. That same money, we're going to show you how to optimize its use so that you can do all the things you were doing before, but you're going to pay less interest. See, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need more money to get out of debt. You just need to pay less interest. So let's put this on the screen. So I'm adding this. All right. And we're going to change up our branding here. And we're going to go to, there we go. We're going to use this screen and we're going to add this camera. There we go. There it is. All right. So here's one. Here is a mortgage for $204,000. I want to break this down to you. All right, $204,000. And the bank wants from this family $143,000 in interest, $143,000 in interest to pay off a $204,000 mortgage. Now, what's interesting about this is that the interest rate is 4%. 4%, but the bank wants $143,000 in interest on a $204,000 loan. Ladies and gentlemen, does that look like 4% to you? Does that look like 4% to you? $143,000 interest on a $204,000 loan. It's not. It's not 4%. Let me show you. It's actually 71% of the of the money borrowed. Here's how 4% actually works in this system. You're going to pay back 71.87% of what you borrowed in the form of interest if you don't know how to read an amortization schedule. Boom. All right. But with our program, these folks are going to pay out only $41,000 and pay this loan off in 7.5 years. They're going to take the money that they didn't pay the bank, all right, and over the next 22 years, if they wanted to, they can turn that money into another $815,000 for themselves. Here is the big thing about these mortgages, okay? Here's the big thing about these mortgages. The big thing about these mortgages is this. It's not the extra money you're paying that you don't need to pay. We're going to save this family $108,000. You think that's the problem? The paying the extra $108,000. Oh no. That's a very small problem, paying an extra $108,000. You know what the real problem is? That you didn't have that $108,000 to invest in your family for the next 22 years, turning it into over $1 million. I have $815,000 here. You know what's great about this number? Is that these folks will be able, if they take their money and put it in an investment for the next 22 years at even a 1% return on their money, they can turn that into $815,000 in 22 years and still live well. And that's at 1% interest. What if they could average 6 or 7? That people who are investing in now, they're getting 6 and 7% instead of 1%. These folks are going to become millionaires off the money they're no longer giving the bank, because now they understand prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. Okay? Nicole says, "Oh wow, look at there. Oh wow." Nicole, what has you excited? She's watching us on YouTube. Thank you for being here, Miss Nicole. All right, what has you so excited? Let me put another one on here. Let me put another one on here. Okay, and this one, da 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 da. All right, here's a commercial example. This is a commercial client. $2 million loan. $2 million. $2 million on commercial property. The bank wants them to pay back $1,123,195 in interest on this commercial property. Now, what's great about this is before this investor met the P.I.L.L method and began to understand prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity, didn't really care about this. Let me show you why they didn't care about the interest they were paying. Because their mortgage payment is $14,696. I'm highlighting that here. Upper right. Let me make the numbers just a little bit bigger. Okay. All right. So upper right hand side, $14,696. But because they're commercial buildings, the renters in these commercial buildings, it's office buildings, okay? The renters are paying over $57,000 a month rent on these buildings, okay? $57,000 in rent. And his mortgage payments was $14,696. Listen, folks, is that some serious cash flow or what? Okay. And out of the money that he's making, he's turning around and averaging 63% of what he's bringing in to reinvest. 63% of what he's bringing in to reinvest, or around $36,000 each month, used to reinvest into other properties. And about $6,000 every month he's putting in a reserve fund so he could do maintenance and repairs on his buildings. Okay, so he wasn't really caring about that. So he's making a lot of money each month on this building. But when he read my book, he soon realized that he's paying a lot of money in interest. All right. Can I show you just one of the loans? Can I show you just one of the loans? If you want to see just one of the loans that we're talking about and how much interest he's paying, I'm going to use that information to start breaking down prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. If you want to see that, put a number 9 in the chat. Put a number 9 in the chat. Okay. And Armin is here. Good morning, Armin. All right. From Palatine, Illinois. Good morning to you. All right. And I'm going to put in a one of the mortgages at 5%, and it's the payment on that mortgage is $8,704. Just one of the mortgage. Okay. So we've got Nicole. Listen, Nicole, you know I'm going to put that up there just for you this morning. And thank you for being here, everybody. All right. So let's take a look at that. All right. And at 8704 at 5% for 300 months. Okay. 8704. I'm putting this together in Brett Whistle. All right. And you need to play around with Brett Whistle. 8704 is the payment. All right. 300 months. That's 25 years. Okay. And the interest rate, what was the interest rate? Let me pull that back up. All right. Interest rate was 5%. That's right. 5% on that loan. There we go. 5%. Let me show you what he was not looking at when I put this over on the screen. Okay. So we're going to pull this over for you so you guys can see this. All right. Now, if you want to start playing around with this amortization schedule yourself, this is a great teaching tool, and it's a great learning tool so that you can understand this. What we're going to use to help you to understand prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity, so that you can start off next year with a bang in understanding what the banking system does not want the average individual to know about how easy it is not to pay interest. And I mean a lot of it, a ton of it. Okay. So here's that loan. The loan is $1,488,906. That's the loan. $1,488,000 is this loan. And the payment is $8704 on just one of these mortgages. Now remember, on both the mortgages, the total interest is about $14,000. But man, they're making money of $57,000 in rent each month on these two buildings. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Oh my gosh. So let's take a look at this thing. I see a bunch of nines here. All right. Online and in the chat. Okay. So let's break this loan down. How much interest does the bank want on this one loan? $1,122,000. Why wasn't the investor in this case worried about that? Because he is making so much money on the front end, He didn't pay attention to the amount of interest that the bank was going to take from him over the next 25 years because he's making so much money. Now, here's the thing that we all focus on. We focus on our benefits. We focus on our benefits, and we don't focus on the amount of money we need to pay to get it. This is what I call interest cost, ladies and gentlemen. Interest cost. His interest cost to make all of that money, and I mean it's a ton. It's a ton of money. The interest cost on that, on just one loan, is $1,122,000. So he's thinking, well, that's just the cost of doing business. But when he read my book, he realized he doesn't have to pay all of that interest to the bank. I need you to see why I use Brett Whissel. All right. I'm going to put this link in the chat. Okay. We're going to copy that. I'm going to put it into, let me see, there it is. There you go. I just put that link online. All right. We're also going to put it and paste it in Clubhouse so you guys can see it too. All right. Now I didn't invent this. Brett Whissel did. I just use it as a teaching tool. And please remember, this is what is not what I do. All right. This is not the P.I.L.L method. In essence, this is not the thing I use. This is just a teaching tool that I use. Okay. Now watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Here's how you P.I.L.L method your way into a debt-free life right now. Okay. So this guy, he's paying on this mortgage, the first payment, $2,500 goes to principal, $6,000 goes to interest. But I need you to pay attention to cumulative principal and cumulative interest, because this is what we don't get to see. When you see the numbers, it makes sense. When you see the numbers, it makes sense. When you're not looking at the numbers, that's when it doesn't make sense. And the banks are depending on you not to do simple addition. Okay? I use this because it adds it up for us. In 1 year, let's take a look at what happens in 1 year while this investor is making all of this money on this loan, while you are buying your house and enjoying your house with your family. Here's what you're not seeing. You're not seeing the total amount of interest that you're paying over time. Until this investor read my book, they never noticed this before. Okay? And my book is the only book on Amazon that even begins to talk about this. Why is that? Why is that? Out of 33 million titles, look at this. In the first year, he's going to pay his loan down that goes to principal. Remember, his mortgage is $1,488,000, and in the first year, only $30,699 goes to pay down the loan. How much is the bank charging him in interest on the first year to pay down this loan by $30,699? Look at this, $73,000. Do I need to make that a little bit bigger so you guys can see that? I mean, listen, if you're on YouTube or watching this on any other system, you know you can go full screen to see these numbers better, right? Okay, go full screen so you can see these numbers. $30,000. Now, this investor is making money hand over fist on this thing, and I applaud him for that. But he didn't realize he was paying $73,000 to move his loan from the beginning, where he owed $1,488,900. Okay, from point A to point B, down to where he owes $1,458,000. Okay. That's just a $30,000 difference, almost $31,000 difference from beginning to end, from point A to point B. And the bank is charging 73,000 of his dollars, did nothing to pay down the loan. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that? 30,000 of his dollars is paying down the loan, but 73,000. Listen, folks, that is look at, add it up, $104,000 of the money that the tenants gave, $104,000 of the tenant gave in 1 year, but he only gets to keep 30,000. He only gets to increase his equity in the property by $30,000. Can I ask you all something? Can I ask you all something? Do you think that's right? Do you think that's a good deal that the tenants gave this guy $104,000, but 73,000 of those dollars went to somebody else to make them rich? What? This is the first time that this investor ever looked at this, because he made so much. He was such a great investor, he did so well over time. He never looked at how much interest he was paying. He only looked at the interest rate. Okay. In 2 years, look at this, $62,000, $145,000 in interest. In 3 years, he's paid the loan down by 96,000, but it cost him 216,000 of his dollars. You see, why do I say his dollars? Because when you pay rent, when you're paying rent, you're paying rent to the landlord, and the landlord receives all of the money. That's the landlord's money. Now, what does the landlord do with the money? The landlord will turn around and pay the mortgage. So when I say his money, in just 3 years, 216,000 of the landlord's money goes to interest on this thing, while only 96,891 goes to principal to pay down the loan. Can I show you what happens in 5 years? 170,000 paid down, but it costs 352,000 in interest. We lose track. They are counting on, the banking system is counting on each and every one of us to lose track of how much money we're actually paying to borrow the money, because we're too busy enjoying what the borrow money bought. We're too busy enjoying that to count how much money we're spending to borrow the money. That's called interest cost, not interest rate. Let me show you the first letter in P.I.L.L method and what it stands for. Prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. Everyone here knows. Listen, if you're liking these videos, go ahead and if you're online, go ahead and click like the videos. Okay. If you're here live, go ahead and click like. Okay. Please watch this. This investor found out that if he was to look at what's really going on here, after making the very first payment on this loan, this is what we taught him. Look at the principal payment on the next line. The principal payment on the next line. Remember, he's making a lot of money. Looking at the principal payment on the next line, he says, oh, $2,500 would go to principal next month. I showed him, well, what if do you have to wait till next month to give your bank $2,510? He said, no. I said, since you do have it, if you wanted to, you could pay that early. So if he made his first payment in January and took February's principal payment and prepaid it, here's what we don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. We all know we can prepay. He knows he can prepay. Everybody knows you can pay more than the minimum payment. What we don't know is the benefit of prepaying. And that's why we understand the first letter in P.I.L.L method is P, which stands for prepayment of principal, not to teach you that you can prepay. We're here to teach you what happens when you do prepay. So when you prepay, you get to subtract that number from what you owe, and you get paid down to line 2 on your amortization schedule in just 1 month. So that means your next mortgage payment is on line 3. That's the new February payment. And the interest payment that the bank was looking for on line 2, the $6,193.36, the bank will never receive. Do you know how inspired this guy was when he saw that for the first time? You mean I can take $2,500 of the money that I'm bringing in, I can prepay this loan and save myself $6,000. Can I show you the math on this? Okay. Can I show you the return on investment on just this one thing? Okay. Monetize your skills. Thank you so very much for being here. He says that's an eye opener. All right. LinkedIn user says, wow. Okay. All right. Let me put this on the screen. LinkedIn user says, wow. All right. And let me see here. And monetize your skills says, wow, that's an eye opener. Eric Toom says, you told us that interest rate does not tell you how much interest you pay. That is correct. Let's put that on the screen, Eric. So I appreciate you for that. Okay. So let's do the math. Let's do the math here. Let me bring up a calculator. I'm going to show you how to calculate ROI, return on investment. ROI. You see, you don't have to make money to increase your profits. You can also increase profits by saving money, by cutting your expenses. That's one of the best ways to make money. To increase profits is to cut expenses. So now he's learning of everything he's learned how to do to make money. I'm now showing him something that's crucial to increase his profits by cutting an expense he never thought he could cut. We're taught that we can't cut this expense. So he realized $6,193.36. So let me try to break this down for you. Every month, he pays his mortgage. He gets to he gets to reduce how much he owes by $2,500 here, $2,510, $2,521. Every month, he gets to reduce how much he owes by about this much money, but it costs him over $6,000 to do it every single month. So it cost him $6,000 to pay his loan down by $2,500. That's how the investors get rich. Okay? It cost him that much to pay the loan down. So if he could prepay this and not pay this, guess what? He gets that equity, that $2,500 in equity for free. Not for a reduced price, for no price. Lord have mercy. Oh, if he prepays the $2,500, he doesn't have to pay the bank a dime to bring his loan down by $2,500 if he gives it to the bank early. If he chooses the timing, he pays the bank $0 for that. The investor $0 to do that. If he does it according to the bank's timing, it cost him $6,193.36. That's a huge difference. 6,000 to no thousand. Listen, does that make sense to you guys? M. Bolin has a question. M. Bolin, what are you asking me here? She says, what if you prepay less than the principal? How much interest do you save? Oh, what a good question, M. Bolin. What a good question. Can we do the math on that before I get into this? Because she asked this question. I'm gonna put it on the screen so you can see this. She says, what if you prepay less than the principal amount? Okay. So let me put my calculator on the screen. Okay. So if we pay the whole $2,500, we would save, if we prepay the whole $2,500, we would save $6,193.36. Okay. She asked, what if I pay less than that? So I'm putting in my calculator Okay, I got my calculator in hand from my phone. Okay, so I'm going to put in my calculator how much we're prepaying. Okay, how much are we prepaying? So we can understand prepayment of principal. We're going to prepay $2,510. Okay, and 64 cents. There we go. Now, all right, M. Bolin, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to reduce how much I'm prepaying by half. Okay, I'm going to take my 25, 10, 64, and I'm going to pay half of it. So I'm going to divide mine by 2, divide it by 2. So now I'm going to prepay not $2,500.10, 2510. I'm going to prepay $1,255.32. Guess what? If I prepay half the money, I will save half the interest. What do you think about that? So we're going to divide this by 2. Listen, folks, I know some of you are saying, Don, I'm incredulous. That's just hard to believe. Okay, so we're going to divide this by 2. I'm still going to save $3,000 in interest, $3,096.68 in interest. How about that? In Bolin. So what if I don't have 1255? Can I divide this by 2 again? Okay. Can we divide that by 2 again? Watch this. Divide it by 2 again. Watch this. $627. $627.66. If I prepay that, I divide this by 2, I would save $1,548.34. In Bolin, if I prepay $627, is it still worth it if I can save over $1,500 in interest? Lord have mercy. And Bolin, I wish I understood. Come on. Okay, listen, I don't have 627. I'm going to keep on dividing this thing. We're going to divide it by 2 again. I got $313.83. Okay, so we're going to divide this by 2 again. That still saves me $774.17. Still pretty good. Divided by 2 again. That's $156 prepaid, $156.91. Divide this by 2. That still saves me $387. Uh-oh, I don't have $156. Let's divide it by 2 again. $78.46. $78.46 divided by 2. Still saves me $193. In Bolin, are you here? You see where I'm going with this? Listen, let's do that one. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay. All right. $78. $78. We're going to divide that by 2. Equals, all right, $39.22. M. Bolin, $39. We brought this all the way down to $39. $39 saves us, divided by 2, $96.77 in interest. 39 bucks, ladies and gentlemen. Saves us 96. Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's worth it if you only have $39 to put on $1 million loan, it still saves you $96 in interest that you don't have to pay. Oh, listen, divide it again. Listen, I'm just going crazy here. I'm just going crazy here. Divided by 2 again. That's $19.61. So who can't come up with $19? Okay. Divided by 2. $48. Do you know how many people tell me, Don, what if people don't have extra money? Listen, if you're in a mortgage and you don't have $19, I don't know what to tell you. $19 on this mortgage saves them $48 in interest. If I could divide that by 2 again, that gives me $9.80. $9.80. $9.80 divided by 2 one more time. $24.19 in interest. If you have $9.80, where else can you invest $9.80 and instantly save yourself $24.19? Where else can you get that kind of return on your money? The reason why we don't understand this, ladies and gentlemen, is because we're taught not to invest in ourselves and get this kind of return, okay, $9 gets you $24. We're taught to give it to the bank so that they can invest and make this kind of return on our money. That's what we're taught to do. We're called a natural resource in all of this thing. So when you prepay, you need to understand how much money we're saving. We now have 691 people watching us online right now. 691. Okay. So we have several people here on Clubhouse. Keep inviting people in, folks. Keep inviting people in. Let me show you I'm going to show you how to figure ROI on this thing now. Okay. M. Boland, thank you for that question. Thank you for that question, because people need to know you don't need a whole lot of money. Monetize Your Skills is watching us on YouTube. Says, oh, that's a mic drop. That's a mic drop. And Bowen says, go ahead, wash hands. All right. I don't know what that means. Okay. Maybe if we talk, you can explain that to me. All right. Let's see. Strategic Secret says that's a good deal. All right. Some savings better than no savings at all. Great, great, great. And Boland says, wow, 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 wow. Yes. Okay. She says, yes, yes, it's worth it for sure. Let me take a look. I don't have any questions or comments on Clubhouse. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen. All right. That was a clap from M. Boland. Oh, that's what that means. All right, that was a clap from Embola. Okay, I get it now. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's learn how to do return on investment. When you invest something and you get a return, you can figure out what is your percentage on that return. So some of us would like to make 6%, 7%. Now let me ask you something. Put it in. Let me put it in the chat. Lolita Hawkins has a question. How often should I prepay if I'm getting paid semi-monthly? And see, that's what I started out with. You didn't get to hear that, Lolita, from the beginning. There is no one thing to learn. What you want to find out for you is how much should I pay and when should I pay it based on how much I'm making. And you're not going to prepay every month, only at strategic times during the year so that you can optimize your interest savings. What does optimize mean? Optimize means how much interest can I save per dollar? Okay. And it is a lot of work in math to do all that, to find the right number to put towards the debt. Now, keep this in mind. Critical point analysis. Look it up. Critical point analysis. When we're prepaying on these loans, the key to all of this is finding the least amount you need to pay. The least, not the most. What is the least amount that you can prepay with to maximize the amount of interest you can save per dollar? Not the most. You're looking for the least. Because of amortization, on most of whatever you've learned to do, we're going to learn how to do the opposite to manifest great savings for your family. Okay? So you want to find the least amount to put on the debt to save the most in interest per dollar. So Lolita, if you want to know for yourself how to put the right amount of money in the right month on the right day of the month, get a savings and earnings report, and we'll give it to you for free. Get a savings earnings report. We'll give it to you for free. I've got my link at the top, Lolita. It's ice10k.com. If you click on that link, you will see a button that says right under Dr. Eric Thomas's picture, and watch his videos from that card. Right under his picture, you'll see a button that says Get a Savings and Earnings Report. When you click that button, you will see that you can actually get that for free. You can get it for free. Okay. All right. So I'll go over that in just a few minutes. Okay. But let's learn how to do ROI. Okay. So to get ROI, how much did you invest and how much did you make on your investment? Okay. How much did you invest? And in this case, We invested $2,510.64 early. Okay. How much did we make or how much did we save by investing that money early? $6,193.36. So this is how you figure ROI. And if you Google it, you're going to get the same answer that I'm giving you right now. What did you make or what did you benefit from investing $6,193.36? How much did you invest? Divided by what you invested. Divided by $2,510.64 equals 2.46. Okay, 2.46. Then take this number and divide it by, and multiply it by 100. Multiply by 100 equals 246%. That is a 246% return on your money. Ladies and gentlemen, if right now you're getting 6%, 7%, 10%, 20, even 20%, 20% return on your money is great. I mean, do you know that people are breaking their necks to invest to get 5% return on their money on money market rates? This is a 246% return on your money. You can't get that in the stock market. You can't get that. Where else can you get that? In 1 month, invest $2,500, get a benefit of over $6,000, 246% return on your money. Look at that. Now, let me show you what else this real estate investor is doing. It won't be exact numbers. I'm just giving you an idea. Can I show you? Can I show you this? Okay. The benefit of prepaying. Now, remember, I showed you on his that he's putting 6,000, only about 11% of what he's bringing in each month. Sharon M. Jones says, wow, 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 246%. Where else can you get that, right? Okay. He's putting $6,500 into his reserve account out of all the money he's bringing in. You realize he has over $100,000 in this account now. This guy makes so much money. It's not even funny. Okay. He has over $100,000 in here into it, just in case something goes wrong in these buildings, because when you're maintaining these buildings, it costs a lot of money. Okay. So he has to keep some monies in reserve. So I pointed out to him by looking at this mortgage. Okay. Let's look at this mortgage. Just as an example, in 1 year, you'd pay this loan down by $30,699.86. That's in 1 year. I need you all to see this right now. All right. If you're looking at this, go to my YouTube channel and watch this. Okay. All right. So $30,699.86. That is all the principal payments paid in 1 year. So here's my question. Does he have to give the bank this $30,000 in 12 monthly payments? Does he have to do that? Put a yes or a no in the chat. Put a yes or a no in the chat. Does he have to give them the $30,000 in 12 monthly installments? Put a yes or no in the chat right now. Steve Mack says no. Steve Mack says no. I know all right. M. Jones says no. All right. Okay. I'm getting some no's here. I'm getting some no's. So he has $100,000 over here in the bank that's making like 1/10 of 1%. And even if it's a money market, maybe he has it in the bank making 5%, maybe. Okay. But what if he borrowed that money from himself? 30 grand. Could he apply 30 grand to this mortgage on line 1 and pay it down to here in just 1 month? Could he do that? If he's paid down to here in just 1 month, all the way down to here, because now let's do the math. If that doesn't make sense, okay, let's do the math. Let's get this advertising off here because it's distracting. Okay. He has 1 million. Okay. He has 1 million, 1,488,906 0.65. That's where it started. Okay. In 1 year, he pays the loan down by $30,699.86. You just told me that he doesn't have to pay this in 12 monthly installments. If he wanted to, he could pay it all at once. So let's subtract $30,699.86. So if we subtract that, 30,699.86 equals 1,458,206.79. That's exactly what I have here on line 12. If he gives this to the bank all at once on line 1, he's paid down to here in January because that's when he started the loan. And his next mortgage payment for February is on line 13 of the schedule. What did he just do? What did he just do? Okay. All right. Tico just came in. Okay, Tico, you didn't get to hear it from the beginning, so I'll answer this question for you. What does P.I.L.L stand for? Prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. All right. That's what it stands for. Prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. All right. So now here's what we're looking at. We're going over the benefit or what happens when you prepay. So if he prepays this, he skips all the interest payments between line 2 and line 12. Never has to pay. Never has to pay that. He only pays to do this one thing, to pay his loan down to here. It's not going to cost him $73,000 in interest if he gives it to the bank all at once. It's only going to cost him $6,203 in interest to do the very same thing, not $73,000 he was used to paying and didn't care he was paying it because he was making so much money on the front end. Now he cares. Now he cares. So now if he prepays that, he doesn't have to pay the bank the $73,000 in interest because he's paid down to here right now. His next mortgage payment is here. He can eliminate 12 months worth of payments in 1 month and eliminate $70,000 in interest he never has to pay in just 1 month. Do you now see the benefit of prepaying? All right. Now, the I in P.I.L.L method stands for isolating the principal amount. How much should we pay? Okay. And when should we pay it? So we're going to isolate. We're going to isolate this. I need you to understand this. All right. Because it's important. You never want to pay too much at the wrong time. Because wherever you get the money from, it's not an endless supply. He got that money from his reserve fund. He can't keep taking money from his reserve fund and prepaying the loan. He would run out of reserve funds, wouldn't he? Let me show you something here. So what if he did this instead? $30,000 he took out of his reserve fund and put it into his mortgage, okay? And saved over $70,000 in interest he doesn't have to pay. Now remember, let's go back. How much is he putting into his reserve fund each month? Over $6,000. Okay. So let's just round it off to 6,000. What if he says, I'm not going to prepay my loan anymore until I put that $30,000 back into my reserve account out of the rents that I'm receiving every month. So how long would it take him at $5,000 a month? How long would it take him to put that $30,000 back? How long would it take him to put it back? Okay. How long would it take him to put it back? I took $30,000 out, prepaid this loan, saved $70,000 in interest, knocked 12 months off, with 30 grand, but now he's going to wait till he pays it back at $6,000 a month. He wants to pay his $30,000 back to that account. How long would it take? I'm looking for answers. Okay, I'm looking for answers. $6,000. Okay, well, $6,000 to pay back 30,000. Tico says 6 months. Okay, okay. There you go, Steve. It's actually 5 months. There you go, 5 months. 6 times 5, okay, is 30. 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, 6 times 5 is 30. So it would take, to pay back the 30 grand, it would take him 5 months. Okay, so here's how it would look. Here's how it would look. Now you tell me. Now our program is going to tell you exactly how much to pay and when. But what if it looks something like this? What if it looks something like this? I just paid this. I paid about $30,000, prepaid it, knocked off 12 months I don't have to pay, saved about $70,000. Okay. I got Cold Crush in here. Cold Crush, you want to come to the stage? All right. If you do, great. I'll be glad to have you up on the stage. All right. And here's the thing, folks. What if he didn't do anything for the next 5 months except make the minimum payment on this loan while he's paying himself back? Because now it's a renewable resource. It's a renewable resource because you're strategic about how much money you're borrowing. He's isolating how much money he borrows because you don't want to borrow from yourself too much money. It's going to take you too long to pay it back, and you're going to pay more interest than you need to over time, because while he's paying the next 5 mortgage payments, it cost him $6,000 each month. Do you see that? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's over $30,000 in interest he's paid while he's waiting to pay himself back. But now he's paid back. He has his reserve fund back up to $100,000, doesn't he? Now what can he do, ladies and gentlemen? Now what can he do? Can he take that same $30,000 out and knock off another year and another $70,000 in interest? He's down to here. So now he's going to prepay again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's going to be right around here. Okay. And it's only going to take him 7 months. 7 months to get down to here. 7 months to get down to here. And it's only going to cost him about $36,000 in interest to pay it down to here, instead of the $175,000 the bank was looking for. He's knocked off over 2 years off this mortgage. Only paid about $36,000 to get it to here. So already, if he was supposed to pay $175,000 to get it to here, because you can see that right here, $175,517. Okay, let's see, $175,000. All right, let me take this back and put in the right amount. Okay, $175,517. Okay, and he only paid about $36,000. Okay, 36,000 minus 36,000. There it is. He's already saved himself $139,000. $139,000. Took him $36,000 to get here, and in 6 months he's paid down to here, and already he's saved himself about $140,000 in interest he'll never need to pay, because he learned how to prepay. He learned how to isolate the principal amount. Okay, figure out how much he's supposed to pay and when. Okay, it's a mathematical formula that it takes several calculations to do, and it's different for everybody. This is why we give you a opportunity cost calculator that takes all of your data, you plug it in, and it prompts you as to how much to pay and when. to optimize your savings. So he saved $139,000 in interest already in 6 months. What can he do now with that $139,000 he didn't have to pay the bank? What can he do with that, ladies and gentlemen? What could he do with an extra $139,000 that he didn't have to pay the bank? If the bank received it, what would the bank do with it? You're right. He would invest that. He can invest that money. He's getting equity. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, he's got $76,000 in equity, more in equity. He's got it in about 6 months, not 29 months. It didn't cost him $175,000 to get that same equity. It only cost him about $36,000 to get that same equity. Ladies and gentlemen, does it make sense to you, for all 600 and over 600 people here watching this right now, does it make sense to you, even as an investor who's making about $60,000 a month on these buildings, does it make sense to you to pay this loan down and give the bank $175,000 to pay it down to here when all you had to do is give them $36,000? Does it make sense to you to keep doing that? I'm just asking. Isn't it about time we learned prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, and now we're going to talk about leverage. Okay, that's the next letter, leverage. Okay, leverage means I want the least amount to do the most. If you have a pulley system, okay, if you have a pulley system or a lever, you want to put the least amount of effort into something so you can lift the most weight. That's what a pulley system would do for you. It's called a mechanical advantage. Look it up. Mechanical advantage. Look it up. When you have a mechanical advantage, putting the least amount of effort into something and getting the most out. Well, we can apply that to practically anything. When I go to the store, I want to pay the least amount of money at the grocery store to take home the most groceries, right? When I go shopping for clothes, I want to buy the best clothes I can and the most I can for the least amount of money. When I'm getting my gas, all right, when I leave here today, I've already checked the gas prices on Gas Buddy. When I go home, I'm going to look at the gas stations on the way home, and I'm going to look at that and say, oh, I'm going to stop at this gas station, and I'll probably go to either BJ's or Costco or Sam's Club to get my gas and pay a lot less for it because I want to get the biggest bang for my buck. We need to learn what leverage means in getting out of debt. I want to pay the least amount to get the most I can. Here's what I want to show you. If we do enough math, we can figure out what is the least amount to pay to get the most interest saved per dollar. So I'm going to do about 3 or 4 math problems here. Okay, do about 3 or 4 math problems, and let's see when we start to lose money. Okay, we're going to see when we start to lose money. Okay, so in the first 12 months, I'm going to do this in 12-month increments so we can do it faster. Okay, 12, we're going to look at line 12, we're going to look at line 24, we may need to look at line 36, we may need to look at line 48. Okay, if I prepay, this is a reason why you don't want to prepay too much at the wrong time. Okay, let's just say you have plenty of money to work with, like my investor friend. Okay, I got plenty of money to work with. I can save if I prepay line 12, the principal, the cumulative principal on line 12, and save the cumulative interest on line 12. I can take the amount of money that I'm saving in interest, $73,748.14, and divide it by 30,699. Divided by 30,000 $699.86 equals $2.40 per dollar. Okay. If I do that now, I just found out $2.40 per dollar. That's a pretty good return on my money. Just think, look, ladies and gentlemen, he just found out for the first time in his life, every dollar he puts on here at this specific point, every dollar is worth $2.40. If he only pays $1, it saves him $2.40 in interest. Isn't that pretty good? $1 saves him $2.40 in interest per dollar. Okay, so let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. If you gave me $1 and I gave you back $2.40, how many times would you do that? How many times would you do it? Until I cried uncle. Said, stop giving me that dollar because I'm tired of giving you $2.40 back. That's exactly what the bank has to do. You give them $1 here, prepaid, that makes it impossible for them to charge you $2.40. Wrap your mind around that. Okay, wrap your mind around that. Okay, so now let's go down to line 24. Okay, now we're going to take a look at if we prepaid $62,970, we'll save $145,925. So we'll put in $145,925. Okay, 925.59. Okay. All right, and we're going to divide it by the 62,970.41. Okay, 62,970.41 equals $2. Oh, we didn't have to go very far. I'm now saving $2.31. Okay, now let me tell you something. At one place, we can save $2.40. Now we're saving $2.31. Well, actually, we have to round this up because we got 2.317. That means we have to round the one up to a 2. $2.32. Now, somewhere between line 1, okay, somewhere between line 12 and line 24, the savings started to go back the other way. We can increase the amount of interest we're saving per dollar as we're putting money on, but at a certain point, it starts to work against us. That's called the law of diminishing return. If the maximum was $2.40, okay, then there's a point at which more is actually going to be too much. How do we get to $2.40? By putting money on, putting money on, putting money on. Here's what we're doing. Here's what the computer system is doing, and that nobody ever thought to tell you. Out of all the money that you have to work with, your discretionary funds, after all your bills are paid, out of the discretionary funds, there's a certain amount you need to put on. And here's what computers do. Computers aren't smart. They're just fast. Here's what a computer would have to do, because we have to take into account the daily interest costs on all of your loans and how many days there are, and how much money you have to work with. Okay? And computers don't move dollars. They move the smallest units. They move your pennies. So here's what a computer has to do. Out of all the money that you have to work with, it's going to move 1 penny on all the days on all your loans and figure out how much interest you can save per penny. Then it's going to move 2 pennies, then 3 pennies on all the days and all the months on all your loans until it comes up with, I can move this many pennies, which will equate to how many dollars I can move. It's going to come up with the right amount to the cent. Let's just say that on your loan, on your loan, it comes up with the right amount, $627.32. After moving all the pennies, it comes up with $632.22, all right, to put on the loan. If it goes to 23 cents, your savings per dollar starts to go down because now you're optimizing how much money to put on the loan so that you can save the maximum amount of interest per dollar before it goes back the other way and you start losing money per dollar. No one on the internet, no one on uh, uh, on YouTube is explaining it to you that way, to put the right amount of money down so that you can save the maximum amount of interest that's mathematically possible. No one. Only the pill method. This is why we do what we do, so that you can understand it. So we've gone over prepayment of principal. We've gone over isolating the principal amount, leverage, and now we need to talk about liquidity. Okay. How do you pill method your way into a debt-free life? Understanding prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. That's how you do it. Now, what does liquidity mean? Liquidity means, what do we do with all the money that we have available to us to spend? Whether it's cash or whether it's credit, a line of credit, how do we use all of our funds? We have been taught to be afraid of using credit cards. We've been our lines of credit because of all the interest we pay. Can I give you an example here? Okay. Here's one. This is just one example. Now there's many, there's thousands of ways we could do this. I only have time to give you one example. What if you put your gasoline and your groceries on your credit card? Your gasoline and your groceries on your credit card. Okay. And paid as many bills as you possibly could on your credit card. All right. And you bought your clothes, and you bought an air conditioner on your credit card. All right. So you're doing all of that. Okay. Let me give you an example here. And all we're going to do, we're going to use a new example of a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. Okay. Now I just put $10,000 on my credit card. Okay. We'll duplicate this tab. I just put $10,000 on my credit card at a whopping 27% interest. Okay. All credit cards, if you're using the amortization schedule, all credit cards are amortized over 240 months. Okay. Now I've got plenty of money in the bank. Okay. Here's my, and I'm going to calculate that for you. And we're going to move back to here. All right. Here's my mortgage payment is $1199.10. And I have a credit card with $10,000 on it at 27%. What are all the experts out there telling me to do? All of the financial gurus. A $10,000 card. I got $10,000 on it. I got money in the bank. What are all the financial gurus telling me to do with this credit card? What are they telling me to do? Put it in the chat. Okay. V. Simmons says you could do mine. Can you do mine? V. Simmons, if you can listen, if you've got a question, you put it in there. Okay. All right. So listen, folks. Let's take a look at this. All of those experts are telling us you need to pay off that credit card because it's killing you. All right. You're paying too much interest on that. So if you paid it off today, here's how much interest that you would owe in the first month on this credit card: $225. $225. That's because the interest rate, the 27% interest rate, that's a yearly rate. Your credit card breaks that down by month. Okay? That's 2.25% a month means 27% a year. So the only thing that they can charge you is 2.25% of what you borrowed that month, which is $225. Okay? So if you paid that off that month, you would eliminate the fact that you would have to pay $225, correct? So here's what I've just done. I've used Visa's money to buy my air conditioner, to buy some clothes, to buy some food, to buy my gas, and to pay some bills. And I used $10,000 of their money, and they're going to charge me $225 a month to use their money. Now, I can take that money out of my bank account. Now, we're talking about liquidity here, okay? The money that I used on my credit card, that's liquid money because I have access to that money and I used it to purchase. I could have used money out of my bank account to purchase, but no, I wanted to use my credit card because they pay me points. Okay. And I actually put it on my American Express because that's where I get the most points. Okay. 27. All right. So now here's what I'm talking about. If I pay the card back with the money from my bank account, I eliminate the fact that I have to pay $225 in interest. If I put that $10,000 on this mortgage where I'm paying $11.99.10, I need you to take a look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest. I need you to tell me, should I pay off the credit card and save $225, or can I take the money that I got from either Visa or MasterCard or even American Express? Can I take that money instead of paying them off and saving $225 in interest? Can I take that money and apply it to this mortgage instead? And scroll down to where I see $10,000, pay it to the mortgage instead, save 45 months off my mortgage and save me $43,000 in interest I don't have to pay. But Don, you got to pay the credit card $225 this month. So what? So let me ask it to you this way. Would you pay $225 in order to save $43,000 or $44,000 on your mortgage? All day, every day. All day, every day. We need to learn how to manage all of our resources, everything that we have, everything that we have. All our money is liquid. The money you have in the bank, the money you have in your pocket, the money on your credit cards, the money on your lines of credit. Learn how to use all of it to your advantage because you're going to pay interest. So fix it so you pay the least amount of interest so that you can get the greatest benefit. If I take this money from over here and put it over there, it saves me over 40 grand in interest, but it only cost me $225. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, that's about it for today. We went over prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. If you want to know how to get the most out of your money, let's go ahead and put this on the screen. All right, I'm going to put up my ICE 10K ICE. There we go. ICE10K.com. This is my card here. ICE10K.com. All right. And if you scroll down underneath Eric Thomas here, all right, you're going to see get a savings and earnings report. Okay. Get your savings and earnings report so you can start the year off right. Let's click on and see what it says. It says here, get your free savings and earnings report. You can know the month, day, and year that you can be debt free for free. All right. And then if you choose to, you can work with us so we can implement the plan. We're going to give you all the answers. If you want to work with us, we'll also give you the plan to get there. But at least you can know the month, day, and year you can be debt free and how much interest you can earn with that money you didn't give to the bank. That's why we call it a savings and earnings report, and you get it for free. Fill out the 2-step thing here, and our staff will get that We'll call you back, confirm the numbers, and then once we confirm it, we will do an analysis for you, and then email you your savings and earnings report once you ask for it. All you have to do is ask for it, and we'll email it to you. It doesn't come unless you ask for it. Okay? Ask for your savings and earnings report, we'll give it to you. If you want to work with us, we'll set up a consultation and we'll see how we can work together. Okay? That's your savings and earnings report. ICE10K.com, ICE10K.com. All right? So, and I need your help today. I need your help. Okay? If you want to know more about what we're doing, okay, I need your help, because if you like it and you want to share this with other people, go down here. All right. I need you to look down to here and say, become an affiliate. Click that link today and become an affiliate with the P.I.L.L method. Okay. Click that link down here and become an affiliate. All right. And when you become an affiliate, you will teach you how. Now, once you fill that out, you will not get an instant reply. You're going to get a reply from us in about a week. We're going to send you an email. Okay. And we're going to tell you what to do to get started with, excuse me, we're going to teach you what to do to get started with earning money from the P.I.L.L method. When you refer somebody to us, we will pay you. We will pay you when you refer somebody to us. Okay. All right. That's what we're going to do as an affiliate. The last thing you want to know is buy my book. And you can click on that button here. Get the book. Okay. And there it is, the P.I.L.L method book on Amazon. All right. Get that book and start learning about what you can share with other people. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode number 279, talking about how to P.I.L.L method your way into a debt-free life. I've just given you the basics here. Take the basics and learn how you can take basics, plug a computer into the basics, and optimize your interest savings, and then take those interest savings and turn it into $1 million worth of earnings for your family. I want to thank everybody for being here today. We're all done for today. We'll be back here on Sunday. If you're on Clubhouse, we will be in the Mortgage Syndicate house on Sunday, where we're going to be talking about more information on how to level up your finances and teach you what we should have been taught back in grade school, back in junior high, back in high school, even in college, the things we need to do to benefit our families with our finances. Thank you, everybody. I now want to share with you something that I love to share. It's what E.T., the hip hop preacher, the number one motivational speaker on the planet, what he has to say about the P.I.L.L method. And that's going to be our last message for today. All right. Today is preparation day, everybody. All right. Happy preparation day. Happy Sabbath to all of you who that applies. That will be going to church tomorrow. Happy Sabbath to you, because that's where I will be, in church tomorrow. That's why there's never any shows on Saturday, because that's where I'm going to be. All right. So happy preparation day. Happy Sabbath to all of you. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Dr. Eric Thomas, what do you have for us today?
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse, just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, My boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down for my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.